Here's a reminder to stay out of trouble in the small blind. Unless you can enter the pot cheaply against non-aggressive opponents, you might put giant holes in your bankroll when playing the small blind. The problem with the small blind is that you're guaranteed to have the worst position, meaning you'll have to act first, on the flop and beyond. Despite this, you should be very aggressive in the small blind if the big blind folds too often. Big blinds should usually be defended against small raises from late positions, and opponents who surrender too often make it profitable for you to take a shot from the small blind. By surrendering too often, we mean that an opponent will fold about a quarter of the time or more. That means at least 1 in 4 times you'll win both the big blind and your small blind immediately, and the rest of the time you'll compete, often at a slight advantage or a small disadvantage. Overall, you earn money by attacking big blinds who fold a lot. So remember, consider raising liberally from the small blind seat if the big blind folds too often. Doyle, you say a lot about superstition. I kind of have never been involved in having any myself, but I'd certainly be open to having some that work if you want to give them to me. Tell me about superstitions.
I don't really believe in superstition, Mike.
Oh, you're my man.
No, but I observe some of them simply because it doesn't cost you anything to observe them. You know, maybe there's a reason you shouldn't walk under a ladder. Maybe the ladder's going to fall on you. So
well, that's true. A lot of superstitions came from practical things.
They have a little bit of logic. Perhaps a black cat run across in front of a guy and he swerved and had a wreck. I don't know. I don't know why the reason is, but if it doesn't cost me anything, I do observe some superstitions.
Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. I walk under ladders specifically because of the superstition, and I love black cats.
That's why you're the mad genius again.
And I don't allow my students at poker to be superstitious because I believe that, and I'm sure you do too, that the next deal of cards are independent of what's come before them.
Not necessarily.
Here's a tell you can use again and again. Opponents staring at their cards make your bet safer. Suppose you're considering making a risky value bet on the river into one opponent with this hand. Usually, you wouldn't bet your pair of queens with an ace kicker in this situation, but if the chemistry between you and your opponent is just right and you have a commanding image, you might try it. The question is, should you try it now? Well, if you can't decide, then look for this common tell. In fact, you should always look for tells whether your decision is close or not. Sometimes you'll see a tell that will change your mind in profitable ways. Anyway, back to our present hand. If you see your opponent studying his cards, he's usually pretending they're more powerful than they are. He doesn't want you to bet. And you know what that means. Disappoint him. He's likely to be holding something like a queen with a poorer kicker, a 10 pairing the board, or a small pocket pair. This means you should go ahead and bet for value. You'll probably get called. If your opponent isn't looking at his cards or at you and seems abnormally uninterested, that's a different kind of act. In that case, it's likely he wants you to bet and is holding something like... Those are all hands that have you beat. A straight, a pair of kings with an ace kicker, or queens up. When you see that contrived lack of interest, abandoning your planned value bet and saving money is your best bet. You can check and usually fold.
Congratulations.
See, it was everything we said, and now you're ready for the next level.